Hey, you see this? That's mine. Yep, this is my movie. And that is my character. That little rodent right there, that mouse, yeah, that's mine. Okay, sure, this thing may have originally been co-created by some guy named Walt Disney, but for all intents and purposes, as of January 1st, that little rat is my cartoon character, and I'm free to do whatever I want with it. And actually, so are you. That's because January 1st isn't just, according to the National Day calendar, New Year's Day, Euro Day, and National Hangover Day. It's also Public Domain Day. Yes, Public Domain Day, the day that copyrighted material expires in the US, which currently allows for copyrights to be held for 95 short years.
Initially, the maximum copyright term was 56 years, 28 with the option to renew for another 28 years.
That's a Duke law professor who also runs the school's Center for the Study of Public Domain, which means she's probably already familiar with excellent public domain clips like this, this, and this. Anyway, over the course of Mickey's lucrative life, she says that the length of a US copyright has repeatedly been drawn out.
The term was extended, so as of 1978, it was extended 75 years, and then so we would have gotten Steamboat Willie in 2004. Then when it extended it again to 95 years, going into the public domain January 1st, the 96th year.
As the Stanford libraries point out, public domain refers to creative materials that aren't protected by intellectual property laws like copyright. Public domain works belong to the public, and anyone can use public domain works without anyone's permission, because nobody actually owns it. That's why I can make my own version of characters like King Kong, or Robin Hood, or Zorro, or Dracula, or Frankenstein. And yes, I didn't say Frankenstein's monster, I said Frankenstein, because in my version, the monster is called Frankenstein. You see how this works? At the very least, it might make you slightly more interesting at a party.
I kind of feel like the pipe on the steamboat, like expelling smoke. It's so exciting that it's finally here. I mean, when I started my job, as a joke, I had a Free the Mouse bumper sticker beside my desk, from some group that was concerned about copyright term extension. So it's exhilarating, but I've been feeling this exhilarating feeling since 2019, because that's the first time after, a 20-year drought that any published work at all entered the public domain in the United States.
Which brings us to January 1st, 2024, when the domain of the public can finally get its hands on Steamboat Willie, the first publicly released Mickey Mouse cartoon directed by Walt Disney and a partner named Iworks, an animator who sounds like an optometrist's office, who helped develop the character of Mickey Mouse, yet doesn't have a plus next to his name anywhere. I say released because, as the Disney Family Museum notes, Steamboat Willie wasn't actually the first cartoon featuring the Mickey character. That would instead be 1928's Plain Crazy, where Mickey can be seen not wearing gloves in spite of the weather. But Steamboat Willie was shown to the public first, and because Plain Crazy wasn't distributed with sound until 1929, Mickey's real first outing won't become public domain until 2025. Until then, we'll have to make do with what we get in 2024.
And so that's why we're finally, at long last, here! Steamboat Willie, public domain! Almost a century later in 2024. So yeah, we kept kicking the can down the road, and now the term has expired.
Now, just to be clear here, this does not mean we all have free reign to any and all versions of Mickey Mouse, like this one, or this one. The only public domain version of this guy is the mischievous rat-like figure captaining this boat here in Steamboat Willie. The good people at Disney still hold a solid, separate trademark for Mickey as a corporate mascot and brand identifier, and they forbid using the character deceptively to fool consumers into thinking a product is from the original creator. Further, anyone who starts a film company or a theme park can't make mouse ears their logo. So much for my bright idea. Disney says it'll work to safeguard against consumer confusion caused by unauthorized uses of Mickey and our other iconic characters. As an example, let's take Bootleg Bart. Bart Simpson of TV's famed 10 seasons of The Simpsons, and then a bunch of other ones, is copyrighted. So these old Bootleg Bart t-shirts compiled here from Vulture, many of which target Saddam Hussein, infringe on that copyright. So if I were to make a t-shirt with, say, the modern incarnation of Mickey Mouse dragging Muammar Gaddafi through the streets of Libya, I don't imagine that Disney, or anyone really, would be very happy with me. But if Steamboat Willie were to carry out that task, I wonder how long it takes to set up an Etsy store. Anyway, our professor here notes that Mickey isn't the only big deal here. There are all sorts of other major characters that are slowly trickling into our public domain, and it's a great opportunity for creative types.
People got so excited. They were like, wait, The Great Gatsby? Wait, finally the last of the Sherlock Holmes stories? Wait, Winnie the Pooh? And so I've been feeling a crescendo of excitement over the last 4 years.
Yeah, on Public Domain Day 2022, the original Winnie the Pooh book entered the public domain in the US. Hence, the independent slasher film Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which some writer they're called a perfect example of the wrong that can come from a creative work slipping into the public domain. If they think that's bad, they should see the shirt I just came up with. Anyway, as our law professor notes, there's a ton of stuff entering our public domain this year. There's books like Lady Chatterley's Lover, and songs like Makin' Whoopee. And hey, you combine those things with Mickey and Minnie Mouse, sounds like a prime mashup opportunity to me. And now that one of the most iconic characters in American pop culture is kind of about to belong to the people, it's kind of exciting.
But, you know, in the 5th year, after the conveyor belt finally started running again and published works were entering the US public domain, this is the juggernaut. This is it. This is Mickey Mouse. And this is exciting